Hello everyone. I am your mentor Tejal Khandelwal and you are watching Tejal Khandelwal Study Center. We have already discussed the importance of institutions like the Ministry of External Affairs, the Prime Minister's Office, the National Security Council, as well as the role of Parliament in the making of foreign policy process of India. Today we will study the importance of the constituent states, that is the federal units of India in the foreign policy making process. This question has already been asked in 2021. Let's look at the question. The question number 8 reads, how do the constituent states influence the foreign policy making process in India? So let's discuss this question. When we talk about role of states with respect to foreign policy process, it is called as para-diplomacy. It is called as para-diplomacy. And this concept of para-diplomacy has come about with respect to study of federalism. Though you did not write this, but you should know that where is this para-diplomacy originating from. There is also concepts like city diplomacy, though we will not be discussing this. But when we say para-diplomacy, it emerged as a result of study of federalism and how when we talk of federalism or decentralization of power, we also see it is important with respect to foreign policy making processes. And this term has been coined by John Kincaid. Alright, so you can talk about that para-diplomacy is and its origin can be traced to the work of John Kincaid, which is associated with the study of federalism and importance of state or constituent units in the foreign policy making process. Now the question is asking, how do these constituent states influence foreign policy making processes? So the question is asking how, but before we move to the how, it is also important to know the why. Now, why is state governments becoming so important in foreign policy process? So first thing that you need to know here is that in an era of globalization, so when we looked at globalization, what is the key value with respect to globalization? We saw, yes, economic diplomacy becomes very important. And when globalization is driven by markets, so there comes a lot of competition, free trade, investments, innovation. So these ideas become very important with the spread of globalization and interconnectedness. So when we looked at the phenomena of why constituent states or why para-diplomacy has gained so much traction, it is in the era of globalization. So we say why this phenomena happened in the first place. Okay, because traditionally what has been there? Traditionally it is the central organizations, the ministries, the parliament who have exercised key role. Even in the constitution, we saw how there is importance with respect to role that has been assigned to the parliament for foreign policy making processes. But why states have become important? So first you can take the broad picture, then we'll come to the national picture. So first we'll take the global picture and then we come to the national picture. So in an era of globalization, what happened? Globalization led to the rise of competition states. Competition states are states like, India, Vietnam. So here we are taking competition state to the term state, not to the provincial level. Okay. So rise of competition states, which means even India is attracting investment. Even we want Japan to invest in us, right? We want US to invest in us. Obviously, they are also looking for markets. So first is the rise of competitive states at the global level. everybody is vying for investments. Now, when this competition state, okay, comes at the global level picture, it also leads to where these investments will go at the lower level, okay, which means at the decentralized level. So obviously it will go in the provincial units. So then this competition states leads to competitive federalism. What it will lead to? Competitive federalism, or you can say competitive sub-federalism also, because city level also it is good. So when we say competitive federalism, which means that even Gujarat wants a project, even Maharashtra wants it, even West Bengal wants it, right? So all the states or the provinces also are competing to get these investments from key global MNCs, okay, right? Or even, companies at the national level. So when this phenomena started to gain importance, right, economic aspect became very, very vital, right? And when economic aspect becomes important, so even if for a sovereign guarantee, there is a Ministry of External Affairs, until we decentralize this, things cannot be implemented with lot of efficiency. The whole process will not be rationalized until we do this at the local level, okay? So in order to bring in, so there is a very important scholar, his name is Panayotis Soldatos. So P. Soldatos we call him, P. Soldatos. So he had made a presentation at the American Political Science Association, okay? And at the American Political Science Association, he is talking about the rationalization that will happen because of decentralization of foreign policy process. And he says it will also bring in what? So he says first, it will lead to the whole process will be rationalized more better, because obviously why? Because of the how the state governments are better placed for implementation and execution of projects than the central governments. And he says this will also lead to unity as well as efficiency. Why efficiency and unity both? Because center and states both are working in tandem with each other, okay? As well as efficiency, because eventually if a project has to be implemented, it is the state governments which will provide water, which will provide electricity, which will provide the land for the project to be implemented. So first in your question, you talk about the concept of paradiplomacy. Why paradiplomacy became important? Who coined the term? John Kincaid, and it emerged as a study of federalism. Okay. Then we talk about why paradiplomacy, means why these constituent states. So we can say a transition line that traditionally it has been the central government and its institutions, okay, or the ministries who have played a key role with respect to formation of policy, formation of foreign policy processes. And we also see constitutionally how this role has also been given with respect to, obviously, along with executive, even the legislature, parliament also, as per Article 246, 253, does a lot of international ratification. So just as a line, transition line, talk about traditionally who has been the key. Then you move towards the global picture, that why this whole para-diplomacy came into importance. So, in an era of globalization, the rise of competition states led to the importance of competitive federalism, where the provincial units, so when you write the state, which means India here, and when we write, so use the term provincial units or constituent units as the question itself has used. So there is rise of competitive federalism, where states are, trying to attract investment. And why states are also better placed with respect to this kind of phenomena is highlighted by P. Soldatos. So supporting your argument in this context, P. Soldatos says that there will be more rationalization of the foreign policy process, as well as more unity and efficiency that will come with respect to implementation. Okay. Now, So yes, even the economic diplomacy becomes important. That's why things are there. Now we have to, so we have answered the why of why para diplomacy or why the constituent states. Now let's see how. So the question is asking how. So when we talk about how, we will be talking of various scholars and the various dimensions associated. Okay. So first how. So there is what in the earlier time in Indian context, there has been the Congress system. The center and the state governments were led by the same party. Okay. But with the decline of the Congress system, what came? So you first point you say, with decline of Congress system, what happened? What was the key phenomena? With decline of Congress system came about two vital phenomena in Indian politics. Okay. First is rise of regional parties as well as coalition politics. What? Coalition politics. Okay. So with these two phenomena, how these constituent states become important? So these constituent states, which are part of the coalition governments at the national level, exercise a lot of pressure. What do they exercise? They exercise pressure on whom? On the central government with respect to making policy. So one very important example in this regard is first that India could not, or India is still unable to solve the Teesta river boundary issue with Bangladesh because of the key opposition of the constituent state West Bengal. So you give that example that because of this pressure, what has not been, so you can talk about Teesta water project. So one is with respect to pressure. Okay. You can also in this context talk about in Sri Lanka how India voted against, at United Nations, how India voted against Sri Lanka because of the pressure of its key coalition partner in Tamil Nadu, and India voted against its neighbor Sri Lanka in with respect to the UN Human Rights Council resolution that had been adopted at United Nations. Okay, so you can even give the role of what you can talk about this Sri Lankan project. Now, both these projects in this context, when we say pressure, is more negative, okay, which means this is saying that how pressure is also being created, so things are not happening. But now, so when we talk about influence, influence can be both ways. One, it can also be negative or it can also act like a stumbling block. But we can also talk about how, because the phenomena of para-diplomacy states gaining importance is associated with this, we also say how now the state governments are better placed. Why the state governments are better placed? State governments are better placed with respect to their resources, with respect to their key ties across the border, okay, the cultural ethnic ties, right? And they are more better placed with respect to also dealing diplomatically with the neighboring states. So for example, Assam is better placed to deal with bordering states. Kerala is better placed also to deal with UAE, right, when it comes to some common issues. Okay. So we say that state also do what? So on one example, we have spoken of pressure, which is the phenomena that started with respect to fund. So we'll take it the evolution wise only. And second is how states are better placed. So in this regard, you can quote two important scholars. Okay. One is Stephen Wolf's para diplomacy. Stephen Wolf says, so here you can quote Stephen Wolf. Okay. So what does Stephen Wolf say? So Stephen Wolf say that the foreign policy capacity of sub-state entities have increased. And because of this capacity that has been increased and the center is now more with respect to a sovereign guarantee, and the states are acting on behalf of the center and are better placed because of their capacity levels being enhanced in order to deal with the other governments. So it is the autonomous nature, he says, which means, so the autonomous nature as well as the capacity of state governments, because of which they are better placed in order to do foreign policy. Okay, that's how they are influencing. Now, we can also talk about this view, support of the same view by Happyman Jacob. So he also is talking of how states are better placed in this regard. So Happyman Jacob, in his article Putting Periphery at the Center, okay, so he talks about in an article, quote the article, putting periphery at center. Okay, now what does Happyman Jacob say? He argues that some of the key areas of foreign policy engagement by the states include foreign, economic, resource management, and security concerns. Okay, so it is not only with respect to economics, he also highlights that with respect to security concerns also, okay, states are more better placed, which means border management, okay, ensuring that how they will coordinate with the agencies of the center and manage these concerns. Okay, so he says that federal governments have played a key role to promote good relations with Israel in important sectors like irrigation, water management after 1992, which eventually led to a strategic partnership in 2017. So, in fact, it is, we can say that uh, uh, the understanding or the cooperation that increased between the state government of Rajasthan and Israel, which eventually led to dependence and realization of the key technologies that it could contribute, which led also to a more strategic partnership at the national level, and so late in 2017. Okay, so Happyman Jacob is saying how states are better placed with respect to all managed economic concerns, security concerns. Now we can say that it is very important that northeastern states coordinate so that the insurgency problem is also resolved and border management can be more efficient. Okay, then there are also scholars who like Soldatos makes one more important argument. So Soldatos say that even if, so there are two aspects, so one is the actor and one is the policy, which means he is saying that even if there has been a rise of a new actor, does not mean policy segmentation will happen. Okay, so he says that decentralization ensures that actor segmentation does not become policy segmentation, and a subnational paradiplomacy helps to rationalize the whole foreign policy. So he is saying कि एक्टर सेगमेंटेशन हो भी जाए, right, policy difference will not happen. Policy difference or segmentation will not happen. So you can say that yes, even if there is the idea that states can contribute, or Stephen Walsh says that their capacity has increased or that they have become more autonomous, does not mean that these things will happen, that it will lead to a segmentation. In fact, there will be more coherence and more coordination that will happen with respect to India's foreign policy process. So here we have highlighted how. Now let's see how in manifestation, which means what are the measures we can see, and we now see that how the states are actually playing role. So theoretically we have seen, but measures will say how in real it is coming true. So how the states are taken in so much consideration, the center is also taking. So we can see the MEA has also created what? The MEA has also created a states division so that it can coordinate better with respect to projects with the state governments. We can also see states are creating what? Foreign policy division or external affairs division. ठीक है, so we know even Assam has created an Act East department. Telangana has also created external affairs division. Okay, so we can talk about these examples. You can talk about Telangana, you can talk about Assam. Okay, fine. Then we can talk about how different investor summits, these things are happening. And when investor summits are there, how states are coordinating with the other states. So with respect to measures, you can point towards that vibrant Gujarat, progressive Punjab, vibrant Goa, spreading positive investment sentiment. So this will also bring in more what? Okay, so you can talk about vibrant Gujarat, progressive Punjab. Okay, give these also as examples, right? Now, you can also be talking about how Bhutan, okay, opened a consulate general's office right before Global Investors Summit at Guwahati. So even the external states are also, ensuring that the constituent units also play. Now, one very important example that you could have given here is how Prime Minister Modi also takes CMs as a part of his delegation when he is going. So when in 2015, he goes to Bangladesh, he takes with him who? The Chief Minister of West Bengal. Mamata Banerjee also accompanies him on this particular summit. And we also see that CM delegation has gone. Andhra Pradesh CM had also gone with Prime Minister, with the Minister of External Affairs. So you can say how the PM as well as the MEA are taking what? Delegations of chief ministers with them. So quote how Mamata Banerjee had gone and how even Chandrababu Naidu had gone, okay, in this regard, okay, to China. So Chandrababu Naidu led a high profile delegation to China, and before Modi's visit to China, he had gone. Okay, so MEA had asked Chandrababu Naidu to visit China before Prime Minister finally goes. So these kind of things are also being facilitated. So center and state are doing better coordination also with respect to foreign policy. So this is how you can say that there has been, a better coordination between center and state with external states, as well as the external states are coordinating with the provincial units also in this regard. So yes, we can say that this is a very important process with respect to foreign policy making, where even the federal units are given emphasis, and it is in fact going to, over a period of time, ensure better policy coordination, as well as, the idea of one national voice also will be there when it will come to important issues or concerns or times of crisis. Okay, so we can say that yes, constituent states today play a key role. You can at the end also talk about that there is rise of city diplomacy. We can see that how at a more sub-federal level there is city diplomacy, where sister city pacts are also coming, right? So how in India sister city pacts are happening, that also you can talk about. All right. So you can end the question with this. Write these measures, more factual aspects. You will also read examples in your newspapers. You can quote them also, where delegations of CMs have gone, or the state governments are doing projects with the center. So it is a unending list. But the aspect that you need to bring is center and state coordination, MEA Prime Minister coordinating with CMs, external states coordinating with the constituent states of India, like Bhutan coordinating with Assam. These aspects also. So how both responds, the chain is happening on both ends. From us also, center state to state, as well as external state to provincial unit or federal unit. All right. I hope this entire aspect is clear. So take the route from the study of federalism and end it at the federalism only. Okay, that is, we can talk about city diplomacy. Fine. All the very best. Take care.